Hello and welcome to John and James Live. My name is John Hastings and I am with the man, James CeeLo. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Was that a little abrupt when it suddenly the music stopped and we were there?
Yeah, the transition's awful. I don't know how to.
I blame the DJ. I think that was you. That was your fault.
Yeah, it's like a bad. It is exactly like a bad DJ, isn't it? You just switches off. It doesn't work. Something needs to change there. We'll fix it.
You're blaming your tools.
Yeah. So James, we're going to talk about today. We went to HYROX. You was working at the event, wasn't you, at the time? I just came along to have a little mooch about.
You were there for a jolly.
I never heard of it before, to be honest. Maybe my head's in the clouds with this type of stuff. I should know.
Well, it's exploded, I would say, and I probably hadn't heard of it maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was working with a company called Stixits that come next year.
Is that a shameless plug?
It was a shameless plug. You see how I seamlessly shoehorn that into the conversation, just very.
Where can people buy
fair? But they are going to be the official warm-up for HYROX. So a device, and I'm going to show you anyway very quickly, to be able to warm up really uniquely, three-dimensionally, functionally for HYROX. So we're going to quickly bypass that. But what an event! I mean, it was.
What is it, HYROX? Anyway, tell the audience if for people like me who didn't know what it was. What is HYROX?
I mean, it's a global fitness phenomena, and they are, I think, now in how many countries?
It said 50 plus.
50 plus countries, and probably over 80 cities. So basically what it is, it's an organized race. So for example, you'll run a kilometer and then you'll do a kilometer on the ski erg. And then you run another kilometer.
Ski erg's this thing.
So ski erg is like an upright rowing machine.
Yeah.
And then it's
like gym equipment, isn't it? Basically.
So integrated into it, between running, you're doing a different protocol, a different exercise. From farmers carry with kettlebells to wall ball throws at the end, ski erg, a sled push and a sled pull, broad burpee jumps,
kettlebell lunge
with a power bag on your back doing lunges. So it's
an
incredibly, I would say, inclusive, because there are all sorts of ages in terms of the demographic. Now, interestingly, the mean age, the average age, is around sort of 35, 36, give or take about 8 either side of that.
It's for old people.
But you get people in their 70s and some in their 80s doing it as well. It is incredible. So they've built into it this ability for all ages to participate. So for example, doing the wall ball throws at the end, you can have a box to sit down onto when you then stand up and throw the ball up at the target. So they've tried to make it as inclusive as possible. And it's like I said, it's a global phenomena. I mean, when you go there and you see how many people are there. So at the Excel in London, there were 40,000 athletes taking part over the 4 days. And probably as many, again, spectators coming in. So the number was around 80,000 people coming through the doors on that 4 days at the Excel. It was astonishing.
It was huge. Yeah, I was surprised, actually. It was massive. The Excel is huge, isn't it? To sell out that event, it must be expensive to even put the thing on. So when I got there, I was just, surprised by the numbers. And really, it's about the energy and the vibe of the place, isn't it, as well? Because everybody seemed like in a very good mood. There was no aggro. There was no
kind of nervous energy.
Nervous energy.
People kind of like milling around and getting ready, and
camaraderie.
And there's
people in wheelchairs doing it. you got the serious people that are like athletes, like pretty elites, and then you've got all types. I mean, you like the pairs. And
So in terms of the categories, you've got solo, and also solo elite or solo pro, and they will carry heavier weights. Don't know that the distance is any different, but I think they do carry heavier weights.
That's right, yeah.
And then you've got doubles, so male and female doubles, and also mixed doubles as well. Yeah. And as you said, you've got the adapted athletes, so people who have got, amputations, wheelchair athletes. But yeah, they call it adapted athlete. And I met a young lady called Charlotte on Sunday when I was already feeling tired, and she made me quite emotional, telling me very sort of blasé and matter of fact that she just got the world record for an adaptive athlete with hip flexion issues. And, just said, I didn't even know that I was going to be able to compete until about sort of a week beforehand, because she'd previously had a brain injury. She'd had a stress fracture on her forearm, which had been operated on. The operation was complicated. There were then issues with that she may have had to have had a hand amputated. She had grip problems that she didn't know she'd actually be able to hold on to the handles on the ski erg, or, hold anything at that point. So it was really kind of up and down whether she was actually going to be able to compete or not. And then faced with that level of adversity and challenge, she goes ahead and wins it. Previously she'd come second, and she went and smashed her PB. So
you hear a lot of these stories, don't you? It's similar to, because we sort of dissecting it from all sorts of angles. I was interested. I don't know. I'm sort of an anti-capitalist, but I'm always interested in the business model. And like, where did it start? So I think it sort of was the beginning of COVID.
Well, 2017, they had their first one in Hamburg.
Oh, really?
And, I think there were something like 650 participants in that first one.
Yeah.
But I mean, even for their first one, 650.
Yeah, it shows there was an appetite for it. It's sort of what I was thinking, business. I don't know what the economics are business-wise, because you've got to rent the, obviously, premises out, security, all of the ambulance staff and that type of thing. You've got quite a big overhead, but I guess they've got like thresholds, and it can make money. I'm just thinking more of with all the AI stuff coming along, people being automated out of jobs and all that palaver. Is this in-person live events thing gonna be the future of all business? Is that how everything's gonna go? Because there is a massive appetite for it, isn't there? People getting together.
There clearly is a huge appetite, and getting that number of people in that space.
Yeah.
And what I experienced, and I guess you would have experienced the same, was, like you were saying, the kind of the camaraderie, the good energy in the room. There was a nervous energy, like I said, but everybody's there having done some level of preparation. Some were coming back for the fourth or the fifth time to try and beat their times. Majority of people tend to do a doubles to begin with, just to sort of see. So obviously, if you do a doubles, you're halving the distance, but everybody has to run a kilometer, immaterial of whether you're running in pairs or doing a solo. So you've still got to do that distance, but you'll do 500 kilometers. 500 meters on any of the equipment, and then sort of half. But you can divvy that up between. So if you've got a stronger participant, they could potentially do more, or whatever. But anyway, it sort of goes half.
So the simplicity is quite clever, isn't it, James? Because it's sort of on board that that a lot of people have been to a gym or go to a gym, or they're not really into sport, but they go to the gym regularly, and they've basically simplified it into a circuit training session with elements of competition and made it just hard enough.
Logistically, at the XL, it worked, because there's been other races that maybe you've got to do 2 laps or 3 laps even. And the feedback that I was getting from people I was talking to, it's like just having 1 lap, because, you know, the brain
Mentally.
cognitively being able to cope with having to remember when you're fatigued how many laps you've run of a course is huge.
That's right.
And then, you know, you get people who've run an extra lap, so they've done, you know, an extra sort of 400 meters, or, you know, whatever the length of the lap was, and you know, the impact of that. So, but just the logistics of getting that many people through and at their start times at the right time, you know, in the right frame of mind and processed is, yeah, it's phenomenal.
Tricky, yeah. So it reminds me a little bit of like marathon running, doesn't it? There are similarities between the both. I guess with marathon, it's a lot, there's, you know, tied to charities. We don't know how much of that money goes to charities sometimes, but there is that charity tie to get in there. It is a much longer event, and it's not as multidisciplined. So this new HYROX thing have sort of simplified it, made it so there's more variety. Guess that makes it a little bit more accessible. It's just an interesting concept. I think a lot of businesses can learn a lot from how they've got that tribal, you know, instinct integrated into their business model, haven't they, James?
Yeah. So what do you think that is? What sort of commentary is that on the human nature that people congregate in such numbers to do something like this? What's your opinion on it?
Oh, Jesus. I have to put is it anthropological? Is that the right word? I'm not really too sure. Yeah. So the hat on, I think it's got to be something to do with an in-group belonging, isn't it? It's got to be about belonging as such.
Identity.
I guess modern life can be quite disconnected, can't it? You know, if you're isolated on a computer, even if you're in an office, it can be quite isolated. People are not really going out that much anymore. You're not really, football is a thing, I guess. Like people go to football or sporting events. I would say marathons, obviously, you got the big one once a year, but much, I wouldn't say harder, different, probably take up a lot more time. But I guess psychologically, it's being with other people, I guess, and you're moving towards the same goal, but you've got that inter-competitive nature. Like you either want to beat yourself or you want to beat others. And I think there's a bit of peacocking in there as well, isn't there, in terms of trying to appeal to the opposite sex, because it seems like all the guys love, it's like a chance to take your top off, isn't it? And the women, you know, I'm not complaining, but they wasn't wearing much, were they, sometimes?
And the thing that I hadn't, because I mean, I'd seen bits and pieces on social media, but I hadn't accounted for the women doing doubles of wearing the exact same kit. So they were, I don't know, it completely made sense, but down to like the same hairstyle, the same shoes, they had matching outfits. Yeah. And that was the norm. That wasn't sort of, you know, a few that were doing it. I mean, less so. I mean, there were a couple of guys, and as you said, you know, majority of the guys that are in good shape or fit would not wear tops.
Yeah, it's a chance to get your top off, isn't it?
It was less. You could see it was less there with the guys doing sort of together, but there were few in like fancy dress. I thought there would be more, maybe people in fancy dress doing it for charity. So that's another interesting thing. You mentioned running marathons and doing that for charity, and how many people would do a HYROX for charity, whether that sort of resonates with people. Maybe, you know, the more people that know about HYROX, that have an understanding of how hard it can be, that might then become a thing, that it's a charitable event that people will then do it.
Yeah, Daniel says, finding that your tribe is really powerful for a sense of self and a sense of belonging. I think, you're right, Daniel. I think maybe that's missing in modern life. So that has the appeal, doesn't it, to go to a group. There's like running clubs can become popular. but again, there wasn't really a one for gym. There was CrossFit.
Yeah, that was the forerunner.
So CrossFit was the forerunner. To be honest, I don't know much about CrossFit either. I don't. It seems to be like looking reasonably hard. Isn't it like muscle ups and deadlifts and stuff? Is it more intense? There's a bit of rivalry and a little bit of a dig between both camps, isn't there? Which is an
that's fascinating when you
look polarity as well.
Yeah, and you're going to get that with, like we were talking earlier, we get that between football and rugby and sailing and power boating. You're always going to get somebody Android, Apple. So it's an identity.
I said if you can't play football, you play rugby.
Play rugby.
Yeah.
Well, you come from a football background. I come from a rugby background, so we would have very.
So if you can't do CrossFit, you do HYROX. Is that out of order?
If you can't play rugby, then don't play ball.
And if you can't play either, you play golf or cricket.
But it's exactly that, isn't it? So you're going to get people that go, well, HYROX is kind of the soft option.
Yeah.
But I mean, clearly, it's hard. I mean, it's properly hard. I mean, these guys to be there.
I wouldn't be able to do it, James. With no training.
That these guys and girls are running at. I mean, they come out the block and they are going for it.
Oh, it's
not only that, they've got all the bits and pieces in between. Now, interesting. They had a couple of conversations. This is not an exhaustive study by any means, but I had a couple of conversations with people who had come from CrossFit and had an injury, a shoulder injury, and said, actually, this presents a lower impact alternative. Yeah. And dare I say it, they could have been of a certain age, maybe a little bit younger than me, possibly a similar kind of age. Right. So actually, I think, maybe the age appropriateness of it could be where it sort of sits in terms of that market. And like the demographic that I mentioned, sort of 35, 36, sort of is the mean age, could lend itself quite well to that. But there were quite a few people who are 60 plus that I saw that, were doing it as well and giving it a good go. Yeah.
My CrossFitting cousin said she likes the CrossFit because there's no cardio, or there's less cardio. Yeah, HYROX has got that cardio element, hasn't it? So I guess it's different.
So it's different, and there's not the lifting. There's not that lifting element.
Power lifting and that. Yeah. So Daniel said shared experiences of achievement, acceptance, feeling welcomed, mass performance, and feeling of community. Last time I went to Excel, I was dressed as a Jedi Knight, surrounded by thousands of others.
Good old.
Was Daniel the one who got arrested for dressing up and holding it was a weapon, or maybe that was a different? Did you see that in the news?
No, that I'm pretty sure
there was somebody who was going to like a Comic-Con or something, dressed up as some military person
and got arrested
in London, and then got like slammed to the ground, jumped on because it looked like he was stupidly carrying like a heavy weapon.
Well, yeah.
Daniel, tell us that wasn't you.
That wasn't. I don't think that was Dan. I'm pretty sure he would have told me.
He's got his sword out.
My good friend Dan.
But yeah, that tribal. There's something with that in the marketing sense as well, James, where they say in online spheres create polarity. Like you want an in and out group. They do it in politics. It's happened in businesses when you're creating a community. I'm not sure I believe in it, if that's a good thing or not, but it just is a thing. It is real, isn't it? And there probably is an in and out group within this because I see the memes online and people were not liking there's a lot of people who don't like HYROX that are from different groups, and it's like they probably try to make it demasculinize. I think that's the word. Daniel says, yes, that was me. Although
that wasn't me.
Although I was wielding a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. But what do we think, James? Is this going to be the future of business, because Stephen Bartlett mentioned something like he is back in humans in the future. I listened to Hormozy recently, the old Alex Hormozy, the business guru, and he was saying, James, I'm not going to say I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I was saying it years ago. He said he's doubling down on lives because there was an event with Mr. Beast. So if anyone knows Mr. Beast, he's the biggest He's got the biggest following on YouTube, but they do these charity football games, or they do charity games. And they said Mr. Beast was talking to Hormozy, and he said when everybody comes out, they get a clap to play on the field. They're normally they could be celebrities, YouTubers, whatever. So he said normal celebrities come out, they get a clap. Brilliant. Everybody knows them. The YouTubers come out, a bigger clap. Everybody knows them. The people with the biggest clap, James.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. The biggest clap.
I've no idea where you're going.
The people with the clap, with the biggest clap.
With the biggest clap.
The live streamers. The live streamers are, well, they must have embedded the most trust. They probably spend the most time with their audience. So live streaming is extremely popular with new generations, and I think is probably going to become even more popular with all of this, what they call AI slop now, of constant AI streaming, this sort of dehumanizing. You can't quite tell if it's a human or not, but with live TV, maybe that's going to change. What do you think, James?
I mean, it is. I saw something pop up. I think it was on LinkedIn the other day, and it was pretty close. It was probably an advert for something. It was a corporate video playing, and there was a girl there talking to camera, and you had to kind of look quite closely, but you can still tell it was AI. I mean, clearly it's going to get better and better and better, that you just will struggle to know. But you're absolutely right. I think, if it is live, and there will be things that happen you can't account for, you'll say stuff, the light will pop in the background, or, something will happen that it's not curated. Yeah. And you'll know then that is absolutely, two people. But again, I guess those things can be manufactured into it, so that's not a guarantee. But I don't know how else we can combat AI generated material apart from doing live stuff where literally anything can happen.
I'm seeing it across the board, James, on the lives. I think people need to sort of wake up to that for business wise. I know with like Candy Sowens is huge online. Her lives are bringing in, a few million people on the stream. There is other like even political debaters, social commentators. I think live just brings a completely different element where it's interactive, it's real, it's in person, it's not rehearsed, so it's got that element of surprise. I think that's what people are probably thirsty for, James. What do you think? I did say this, James. I'm not going to say that I'm a genius, but I did say.
Well, I'm not going to comment, mate.
No, I'm not going to call myself a genius, James. But in 2011, I did text somebody and say, I've got this idea called Big Face Twit. And I said, it's going to be this hybrid between Big Brother, Facebook, and Twitter. I said, they're going to be having live streams from their, I said, like, celebrities are going to be live streaming everywhere. This is going to be the thing.
Yeah.
5 years later.
Have you still got that text? Have you got evidence?
I've got evidence here. I did text it's Owen Ashby. He's out there. He will validate that for me.
Up to Owen.
And, I've still got the text. Yes, I have. 2011 or 12 that was. But you're
like some sort of savant.
I just don't know how.
I mean, I don't know that sort of
It's the finger on the pulse, James. I didn't know HYROX, but I could have imagined that was coming with. I knew things like Tough Mudder, these type of events.
Well,
It's just a logical trajectory, isn't it?
There are competitors coming into the market, which is obviously a clear indicator that they're doing something right. You know, it's that whole thing of if you're trying to be imitated, you know, you've hit on something. So yeah, I think this is not going away anytime soon. And the great thing about it will be, I mean, a bit of competition is always good because it makes the others in the field up their game and make sure that they are thinking about competitors and people coming to spectate and making sure they're having a fantastic experience. Yeah. But it's very much like, I guess at the end of the day, it's who you align yourself with in terms of brand. It's like, I'm either a Mercedes driver or I'm a Porsche driver, or I drive a Mini, or I drive a clapped out Lada, and I don't really care. And I'm a bit quirky and I'm very much about the environment, and I'll drive this because I'm more interested in that as opposed to the way that I look, etc., etc. So people will gravitate to a particular brand, I guess, to an extent, if they were the forerunners, if they were the original, or it's because the price point says something about them as an individual. Maybe the branding is more, maybe the global reach is more, and it's like, well, I want to be associated with this particular brand because it then says something specific about me.
Yeah.
So, but there's always going to be a market for, you know, a cheaper alternative, you know, one that's saying, look, we're not going to charge spectators to come in. It's a one price for everything. You get your photographs, your spectators, your ticket, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, simplifying it. So there will be a market for that. But I guess
it's funny how people direct in these groups, isn't it, James?
Well, it is. Like it is.
But it's like the cold plunge group or the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then it was yoga. Hot yoga was quite a big thing. Then Soul Cycle did it pretty well, didn't they? Soul Cycle had that type of, what was it? Just like a spin class, but with a, was it a soulful theme? I don't know if you do it in the dark. I can't remember what it was.
I think, I don't know if they were the first, but they certainly introduced like DJs and like really great music, and you know, it was a whole kind of theme of it. And the way it made you feel when you came out, it wasn't just a spin class. It was the ethos behind it. The tribal element.
Yeah. And HYROX did the same, didn't they? There was the pumping music. They had the DJing type of thing.
Yeah.
It was a bit
announcements, awards.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a ways to go, and they know that. They know it's not perfect. They know that they can improve, like any organization. And again, that's, you know, to their credit to say, look, this is an ever evolving thing, and taking that feedback, but it is a growing behemoth. I mean, this flywheel effect of just drawing people in, people wanting to work for the organization, people wanting to volunteer. So all the people that are there as judges, you got head judges. So even that has got this kind of structure within it, that people are there volunteering to be part of it. You know, it's just,
how can people incorporate into the ideas and into their own businesses, James? What can they learn from HYROX that they can say, okay, I've got a coffee company, I've got this type of company. Does it apply to all companies to create? The big word is like community, isn't it? Community and engagement. Is that the future?
And it's how you make people feel. I think how they feel when they leave the place. If they feel like they've had, okay, maybe they didn't get the time that they wanted, but actually, you know, the staff are all really, I mean, they're fantastic individuals. They're encouraging and motivating, supportive. And even if you don't get, you know, the amount of posts I've seen people saying, oh, you know, I didn't get my target, but you know what? It was a great experience. Now, clearly not everybody's going to have that, but if the majority of people do and come away feeling good about that interaction, they're going to talk about it, and they're going to. But
the
model is that obviously they've got people coming in to spectate. Now, you tell everybody what you said to me. Pretty much, you'd been in there for about 10 minutes. We were walking along, looking at everybody, what everybody was doing, and what did you say to me? Can you remember? If you can't,
we should do one.
Well, it makes me want to get fit.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it inspires you to. I see other guys, and I'm like that little that competitor in me, or just thinking, oh man, I need to get.
Yeah,
I need to get fit.
So from the spectators' point of view, they're coming in, they're getting to see it without having to compete. So they're getting a taste of it. They can see what it is. So again, there's a great level of exposure there. So you're recruiting people.
Yeah.
So you've got double the amount. So there were 40,000 competitors and about the same number of spectators coming in observing, at all different ages. And a fascinating thing was the amount of people that brought their kids.
Interesting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A kids HYROX or some type of assortment course could be a future thing, couldn't it, James?
Well, they've got HYROX Young Stars, so that's already in the offer.
Already in there.
So they've got that's being developed, being launched. Yep. So a HYROX for kids, and you think again a fantastic model. I think the kids want to emulate their parents, or they want to feel like they're becoming adult in doing the things that they do. So they see adults doing this, their parents doing it, they want to do it as well.
If it looks fun.
And they're going to become HYROX competitors, athletes of the future as well.
I think what they've done unknowingly as well is that in a normal race, there is the fear of being seen and losing. Whereas in this race, you can't tell who is winning.
Competing against yourself, pretty much.
Because it's on a timer and everybody's everywhere, it removes that embarrassment of coming last, doesn't it? I guess that's quite a probably clever thing that they've done there. Another thing, I spoke to a friend yesterday in a business that's really taken off is paddle. Have you heard of that?
Paddle,
paddle or pickleball. That pickleball, that's the one. Yeah, they are different. I don't know what's different about it, but it was pickleball. His son's like one of the top 10-year-olds in the country doing it, and this is something as well for people to keep an eye on. It's getting big in America. Paddle is big in Europe.
Do you have a theory as to why it's gotten so big? I do, but what do you think?
I think for my friend, he said it was the accessibility and ease of the game, and then it was open to all age groups. So he had a physical injury, which, you know, tennis puts him out as too labor intensive, and then he's playing doubles against people who are like, he's in his 40s, he's playing doubles with people in their 60s, and it's competitive.
So I think, out of all of that, I think for business is to try, I mean, it clearly depends on what the business is, but I think you've got to really focus on how you can meet your customer, your consumer, where they're at. How do you lower the barrier to entry? How do you make them feel successful? How do you enable them to participate when others are making them feel less than and incapable? So it's about empowerment, isn't it? Now,
maybe 10 press-ups, James, before you get your cappuccino at Starbucks. What do you reckon?
I mean, it's like, it's just
10 star jumps before your chocolate cake,
especially Christmas. So I think that's a lesson, isn't it? That's an element to think about. It's actually whatever you're producing, if it's tech, if it's you know, some piece of equipment that the instructions are so complicated, and the thing is needs a high degree of competency to operate, you're going to get people feeling stupid. So how do you make people feel intelligent, and how do you make it intuitive enough that they can actually do it and feel good about themselves? I think that's a large element to success, and for people to talk about it, because like I said, it's how it makes you feel. You know, does it make you feel good about yourself? Do you come away thinking that was a great experience? And You know,
maybe you either create the community, or you actually, if you're a company, you go out into a community. I know like a friend who runs Simply Lunch, and they do a lot of community work. So I don't know what community they're building internally, but they're definitely involving themselves with external community, because when AI takes people's jobs, what's going to be left? It's going to be entertainment and in-person human interaction and community stuff. So I think people should, look on a 5-year, 10-year horizon to think, live online lives, in-person events could swing back round.
And you just saying that, actually, that does fill me with a level of hope, because I think with the onset of AI, that people will feel the need for that in person even more. It's like, until it gets to that point where AI really is taking off, and it's at its, we're not even close to the pinnacle of it, but it's getting into the conversation sufficiently that people are now craving that community element. So I think it's going to force people into a situation where they're seeking it out now, as opposed to just in apathy absorbing it and letting it wash over them. I think they're actively going to be seeking these communities out now through necessity, and as a potentially a pushback to what is happening with AI. That gives me a bit of hope.
Because it can apply to any company, can't it, Joseph, the HYROX stuff? So if you're a coffee company, you might have theme nights where you're inviting or communities in, or theme days. There could be, if you're a closed company, you could have a theme where you're attached to a cause or a community, and you're not separate from, you're sort of integrating and building more in-person experiences. So there's a lot more in-person touch points.
Well, just on that point, HYROX, I'd forgotten, but they had Macmillan there. And throughout the course of the days that I was there, they were making announcements of how much money they'd raised for Macmillan. So again, that's another thing in respect of how people are contributing to the greater good. Now, when you're talking about coffee shops, and if a coffee shop is aligned with a particular charity or fair trade, or doing something with their coffee beans, that they are ensuring the livelihoods of the people that produce the coffee beans, that are not in poverty, or they're not just a faceless kind of corporate.
Because that's enough to make a buyer decision, isn't it? If I know a shop's got an agenda or a mission or a cause, I'm definitely going to go out of my way to prefer that, especially when on the surface everything else looks the same. Like I say, if it's a closed brand or a mass-produced product.
And again, it ties into that, what it says about you as an individual. I mean, do you feel good about yourself going into a seemingly on the surface faceless corporate chain of coffee shops, or are you championing the underdog and for the greater good, and actually your purchase is contributing towards that? The coffee is one thing, but your buying power being directed in a particular way is something else, isn't it? So
I agree.
All of this is very much about, how we think about ourselves, how we view ourselves in the world generally, and whether we're concerned with doing a little bit. It can just, and it can seem insignificant, but actually at the end of the day, that was a decision, and it's around empowerment and agency over that decisions, whether I choose to spend my money at that particular chain or that little independent. That's these decisions are fast becoming the only ones that are left to us, that the decision is where I actually spend the money.
And if you're an independent consultant, or you've got a smaller business under 10 people, then what the HYROX is reminding me is that the community element in terms of a business model is like the holy grail of businesses. Let's say you have 1,000 people paying you £50 a month for access to 2 lives per week. You're doing 2 hours of work for 50 grand a month. The leverage with media and community. So you're going to see things like Substack taken off, school taken off. You know, you've got Kajabi backends, you've got, you know, monetization through YouTube on communities. You've got the old Patreon model, you've got OnlyFans. All of these are community-based models that have access the power of leverage. So if you can pull together, there's a famous article, 1000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly. It's like, if you can have, if you've got 1000 people who are just raving fans, love what you're doing, you'll be set for life. Let's say they're paying you £10 a month and you give them, you know, £1,000 per month value, then all of a sudden the numbers get ridiculous. It's harder to get it going and build it up, and you got to find your people. But you know, there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
Can you find 1,000 people that love what you're doing? And you know, there's probably no, and the margins are so high as well. You're probably going to take 95% margin on that business model.
Yeah.
Scary. It's a dream. I see loads of football people doing it on Twitter. There's a lot of, because pre and post analysis of football is so huge for football games, and you get these fans that have built communities just because people like their opinion, and they're doing something they love. They've got, you know, 5,000 people paying £5 a month for access to their behind the scenes post game analysis, and they're making 25 grand a month.
Well, look, that's a prime example of Angry Ginge, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, just I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah.
I'm a celebrity.
And that goes back to the live streaming model, doesn't it? Of being on camera, community. Yeah. But whereas people will struggle with this, James, because you know, people are terrified of sometimes putting a post up on LinkedIn. I think they're scared of actually doing a pre-recorded video. Some people do podcasts where they want it pre-recorded and they want it, you know, hyper edited. Plus, they want the questions beforehand, so it's all orchestrated because it's sort of designing the picture of how they want to look. Is it good for everybody? Is the live thing, or is it something you should get used to and be open to?
It's going to be tricky for some people. And I think for the people that get inside their own head and are thinking about how they're being perceived and start to hamstring themselves, if you can just have it's like sitting down, just having a chat with somebody. I mean, literally, I'm not even thinking that we're going out live right now. You and I just having a chat. Yeah. And if you
I've got no trousers on, James. That's so relaxing.
Well, I'm pleased to hear it, mate. I'm glad you've made that level of effort, and subconsciously that is now going on in my head, which is again taking me out of my head.
Yeah, maybe we're just exhibitionists. That's why it's so easy.
Are they white or are they multicolored underpants?
Just like a white Marks and Spencer's brief.
Tighty whities.
Yeah, amazing. As you do. But maybe this goes back to the HYROX thing, is about being seen. Being live is about being seen. What is it with people of the fear of being seen? Is it saying the wrong thing, or is it projecting the wrong image?
Yeah, I think there's going to be fear that you're going to undermine or to say something that maybe doesn't have a high level of political correctness, and in the heat of the moment, or when you're feeling sort of slightly starstruck with the whole process, you might say something unfortunate, in which case you then are cancelled.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's definitely an element of that. There's fear that people aren't willing to not see the questions beforehand so they can prepare. It depends on the individual completely. It's like, you know, either you're the person who can just do off the cuff stuff and talk, or you need to prepare. You know, you set your stall by it, and you know, psychologically you think, if I don't, then I'm going to unravel.
Or you need to bring in facilitators to
do that,
to do it for you. to bring the love to, yeah, we can do it for you. Just hire us. It's just easier. Don't worry about doing it yourself. We'll interview all your staff. We'll bring the stories to life, and then bring the human element to businesses.
And promise to wear trousers whilst doing it.
Yeah, because I think I've got my anti-capitalist ways, but I think in this transition to this communist utopia, James, that I've got planned, this new world order, I think on the way there, I think that
when you say that, just
I think on the way there's a lot of potential with this live and community business stuff to expose a lot of societal problems and actually do some good, because you're going to be highlighting things, aren't you, in society and people's lives. And with all this AI, it's easy to say you're going to be automated out of jobs and stuff, but that's just not a throwaway comment. That's somebody's mortgage, that's somebody's livelihood, that's probably people, that's suicide, isn't it, for people? It's not going to be a joking thing. It's going to be a serious problem,
implications,
which is going to affect people's relationships. It's going to affect people's kids. I spoke to a guy, my old friend from school, the other day in HR, and he's a senior HR person at a very big company. And I said, how's it going? And he's just been made redundant, 2 weeks before Christmas. So there's a lot of uncertainty out there. So it's just not as easy as just saying, this is going to be automated, it's going to be abundance. There's going to be a lot of painful challenges moving forwards. And I think, I get it that companies are competitive. Yeah, brilliant. But if I'm in the same community as you, James, and we're competing against each other, it's not really in my interest to outcompete everybody and everybody's losing and I'm winning, because my community is terrible. Otherwise.
And I mean, what do we know? But I kind of urge people to look at the bigger picture stuff rather than doing it for AI's sake. And I guess there is this fear that if you don't integrate it, that you're going to be left behind, that people who are using it are going to have that competitive advantage. And certainly I think there are lots of ways it can be integrated, but if you're doing it for purely the sake of having it so that you can tick that box, you've really got to look at the wider implications in terms of how your customer base is interacting with it. Because, like, for example, a chatbot, you can have AI integrated into that people are getting frustrated behind the scenes because they're not talking to a real person. A chatbot can do so much. An AI integrated chatbot can do a lot, but you can also miss the nuance. You can go around in circles a bit and potentially lose the customer.
I had that this week with my website builder. I was sent an email and it was an AI responder.
Right.
He just didn't get it. Eventually, it just had to put me onto a human. And I get it. It's early days of this. It's really good. But for this specific problem, it just didn't. It didn't pick it up.
And there's that thing. I think there's a human element of, like, not reading stuff. It's like, well, it's clearly there on the website. Well, how many people read that? The small print, even if it isn't small print, if it's there front and center. There's so much going on in our heads and our lives that you could have missed that and just gone straight to and you're in that sort of reactive mode, whatever state of mind you're in. So, AI certainly can serve as a entity to direct you. It can specifically say to you, okay, really appreciate you getting in contact. Just like to draw your attention to the fact that and it could speak that to you, as opposed to you having to go find it, read it, whatever, or somebody who's designed the website assume that you would have read that because it's clearly there in bold print in red, but actually you missed it. So I think there's this element of safety net that it can be used, for those moments when actually all you need is just a little prompt that information's already there. But actually, if it goes deeper than that, and you've got somebody who needs some emotional support or is really struggling, then it should then immediately default to a human then being able to come in with empathy and understanding and say, look, I get that you're struggling with this. Let's see how we can help.
Yeah, no, I agree. You have to be careful with this AI at the moment, James. I know, I'm on ChatGPT all the time, to be fair, asking it questions, using it, building stuff with it. But you have to be, at the moment, I noticed a lot that, in prompts that you have to double check it, triple check it, ask it. I've actually told it, please do not tell me stuff with certainty that you actually don't really know. I've had to input that prompt in there, because every time you do that, I've told it, I'm losing trust. Every time you give me something with certainty and it's not true, I just lose, another 15%, 20% of trust in what you're saying. Just tell me you do not know.
That you're abdicating responsibility to it, of going, well, ChatGPT's come back with that, so it must be true. It's clearly scoured the web. It's gone all over, all of that data that's available.
Yeah.
And
Property Search Direct says, we use an AI chatbot on our website, but it always monitored by a human who will always drop into live chat when it looks like it's missing the point. Left unchecked, it can frustrate people. Yeah. No, I think that's a very sensible thing to do. You can have multiple obviously the chatbot can speak to as many people as it wants at one time, but then to have some type of human moderator just they could have 20 conversations on a screen, couldn't they? If it looks like it's going a bit sideways in the conversation, they can just drop in and say, hey, how's it going? So I totally agree. Property Search is directs there. That's a good point, and that's really, I think that's a great point. In terms of the ChatGPT this week, James, I have to say I had a fantastic moment. I'm not a DIY kind of guy, but my radiators have been down for a while. Let's just check to Property Search Direct. Great for heavy lifting, directing traffic, answering repetitive questions is great, but sometimes it can miss people's real intentions. I think at the moment you're right. You just have to double check it. And again, we are being harsh with this AI stuff because it is a brilliant, and it's so early. Imagine how good it will be in 10 years. So
I think it's akin to autonomous vehicles, that you've got this situation that actually the driver is there, and the autonomous vehicle will take over, if anything happens to the driver. If you fall asleep or you looks like you're going to sort of have an accident, it could prevent that. So it's not like at the moment, certainly, that it's there and then the driver takes over. It's the other way around. So I think AI is at that point where it's there in the background, but you're in control. The human element is there that can jump in if it looks like it's not achieving the end. So no,
100%. And go back to my AI story, James, how it can really, AI can really help you with the ChatGPT. So my heating has been down. I never really put the heating on anyway. I don't really like too much heating indoors. I'm a hot guy, James. I'm always a hot guy. My wife loves heating. She'll have it on full blast all the time. So the heating's been down for ages, and I tried to put it on before. Only one radiator was working out of the 3 in the apartment, and then it was 0. None of them was working. So I thought, okay. And really, I'm renting in London, and I am scared. I'm really scared to ask my landlord anything because I don't want her to put the bloody rent up at the end of each year.
Right.
So I'm like, if there's a problem, I'm like trying to fix it myself. So at the end of the year, she thinks, okay, this is a good tenant. Let's not put the bloody rent up. So I just used ChatGPT. I said, look, I took a picture of the boiler. I took a picture of the thermostat. I said, this is not working. I need you to be my heating professional, just step by step walk me through what I need to do to get this thing. So it, cut a long story short, it literally walked me, and I'm not a DIY guy, can barely change a light bulb. So it walked me through it. It said you need to do this, this, and this. Change the batteries in the thermostat, rebooted the boiler, somehow pressed a few buttons and got it connected, and then that sort of popped up, and then it still wasn't working. It's like every stage the heating wasn't working, the radiators.
Yeah.
So then it said, right, you need this tool, like a radiator key, and then you need a couple of other keys. Go and do this, this, and this. And I just stated to it, listen, ChatGPT, be as clear and simple as possible, like you're talking to a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And it just talked me through the whole thing. I went downstairs to my neighbor, said, have you got any of these tools? And she had like a multi-use screwdriver. So I've come back up. My wife was asleep at the time. She was on a come back from a late shift from work. So I wanted to surprise her that when she woke up, so I'm there on my hands and knees. I've got like a little bucket. I've got my screwdriver. I'm twisting pipes. I'm following the thing. And then all of a sudden I feel it. And it's like, Jesus, is this working? Like one's working. I've got a radiator on. And then the other two weren't working. And I'd sort of played around with those, kept following the advice. And at the end of the day, my wife woke up and I had all radiators on, full blast.
Mate, she must have wondered where the hell she was when she woke up.
Oh, she was.
I've got to be in somebody else's flat right now.
Yeah, she was a changed woman after I fixed that heating.
And sort of like Revenge of the Body Snatchers, that somebody sort of come, taken you, replaced you with somebody who was remotely able to fix the radiators.
It's like it's pretty much turned out to be like the dad I never had, ChatGPT. It's taught me a lesson, and now I know there's a TVR thingy bob. I know how to bleed the radiator. I know what the thermostat on the side means. I know how the boiler works now.
All joking apart, though, mate. That is the kind of thing either you'd have to get a professional in to do, or like you said, your dad would have told you that.
Yeah. In the past, I 100% would have just called the landlady and said, "Oh, can you get somebody in to fix this?" It probably would have been a 400 or 500 quid for them to come out.
But how much more empowered and capable do you feel now, having?
Oh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant, and as soon as you take a picture of the boiler, it's asking me, is this a combi boiler or is this a dual something boiler? And it knew exactly what it was. So it was just, it's just super impressive for that type of stuff, isn't it? For you to be.
You will have now Pimlico plumbers on the phone saying, ChatGPT's just put us out of business single-handedly.
Yeah, or no, it did tell me along the lines of, listen, we can't tell you to do anything that's unsafe. Basically, we're not going to mess around with boilers. If there's any sign of this, do not do it. Do not touch these pipes.
Yeah.
So it was very clear, because you don't want to.
Radiators are one thing. The boiler and gas is something very different.
Yeah, you can't start thinking you're like a gas engineer because you've listened to ChatGPT or an electrician.
He's going to go ape shit.
But for simple stuff, potentially around the house, and why not? And it is just a great way of learning on the go, on the job, isn't it? Instead of learning by theory, this is what ChatGPT can give you, a step-by-step guide in real time, with real feedback. So
mate, I feel good for you. I feel almost like
I never felt more like a man, James. After that, I felt like I was I'd achieved something. To be fair,
mate, I'm proud of you. Well, I don't say that very often.
Thanks, James. Thanks. And are we going to do a HYROX, do you think? I'm a little bit apprehensive because my physical abilities.
Well, then you're just going to have to train for it, aren't you?
I'm going to have to train, yeah. I've got a bit of a lazy ass. I'm going to have to train for it. It did look tough. But it would be good to do it as a partnership. How fun would that be?
The John and James HYROX show.
Let's look at the next one in London. When is the next one coming up?
March.
Oh, bloody hell, James.
Olympia. You better get on it, mate.
Sounds soon. Yeah, maybe we could do a LinkedIn group one, like get as many people in a group as possible to come and do it together.
Like a relay.
A LinkedIn HYROX group. Yeah. I wonder what the CrossFitters say. I wonder if CrossFitters will reply to this as well. They hate it, don't they? But yeah, let's see. But no, appreciate that, James. I think we'll wrap that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
For now. There we go. Business lessons. Potentially get on the lives. We know that community is going to be huge. Try and integrate some good causes.
Yeah.
Health and well-being is going to be massive as well, isn't it, James?
Well, on that point, mention the course that we put together.
We've got a course that you can go to johnandjames.live. It's probably the best personal development course in the world. But some say I might be biased.
Carlsberg did self-development courses.
If Carlsberg did self-development courses, it would be johnandjames.live
course in the world.
So go to johnandjames.live and then you'll be able to be directed to the course to sign up for that. James has got the old stick sits coming on, and I am working on personal branding with individuals. So building their personal brand, design, the architecture, the ecosystem. Got some real cool clients that I've got in for the end of this year, going into next year, which is going to be big. It's going to be big. It's exciting, yeah. So big year, but well done, James, this year. You turned up on this reel on LinkedIn to say you was the person I was most in contact with.
And you.
And
me.
Yeah, we kicked this thing off with the exercise, didn't we? And we sort of transformed it into live. But everybody knows that consistency is hard in anything. And especially when not many people are watching, and that's the start of everybody's journey, isn't it? To just start off with, everyone starts with one follower, one viewer, and to keep showing up. And we've been showing up now for over a year, doing these lives, and it might be year 3 when we get huge sponsorships and Joe Rogan's asking to come on. And then everybody's saying, oh, I remember those when nobody was watching.
Yeah, when nobody watched.
But it starts somewhere. So maybe, we've done well. A big pat on the back for us, James, this year.
Absolutely. 100%. Well said.
Going. And it's great at connecting with people, isn't it, James? It's great for connecting with. Yes. We've had some really good guests.
I don't think we give it enough credit, to be honest, mate. The people that we have met and the interactions we've had, I think.
Yeah, from scientists to multi-100 million pound business owners, branding people, psychologists.
And it's just about asking, isn't it? Yeah. It's just about the ask.
But no, we'll keep going, and we'll see you next week. Take care, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Property Search, for your comments. Thanks, Daniel, for your comment as well, and whoever else was watching. Everybody, take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Much love, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye-bye.